Good morning, colleagues. Let's finish up with the task that we had on Friday session. We're going to create our GeoGebra applet from scratch. So let's see the step-by-step development. So first, you open a new tab on your web browser and just click GeoGebra.org, and then we're gonna start a calculator. Click Start Calculator. Remember, we were working on developing an applet, an interactive applet for the relationship between the center angle and the angle in the circumference subtended by the same arc. So, of course, as we are working with circles, we're going to draw a circle. So in the tools, we're gonna click circle with center. Gonna click in the center first, then we move our pointer away to get our point B. Now we have to draw the central angle, the one we want to calculate. So now we have to generate a random angle for the central angle. So we have to use, for that purpose, we're going to use the algebra input. So come to the left panel and click algebra. Now we're going to generate an angle A. In the variable A, we're going to store the value of the randomly generated angle. So we say angle A is equal to floor. Floor is a function that will help us convert real numbers, decimal numbers, into integer numbers. So floor, and then inside this function we're going to use the random between, which we already know is the function to generate random numbers in a range of numbers. So it will be random between, and going to use minimum integer to maximum integer. So it will be random between 40 degrees and 90 degrees. Okay. Okay, now let's call it 180 degrees. Perfect. But now what we need, and what we were missing on our session, is that we need to convert this randomly generated number into degrees. To do that, we have to, at the end, look at the end where the cursor is blinking, we have to add the degrees symbol, this one here. I'm also going to copy it because we're going to need it later. So yeah, this way we are generating random degrees. You see that the degrees symbol has been added now. Every time you click here and press enter, you'll be generated a new random number. So you click and then press enter, you see a random angle has been generated. Now we can actually create an angle with these measurements. To do so, let me close this one here to create a little bit more of space. Now we go to tools, click tools, let's see more to see the rest of the tools, and then we are going to generate under measure, click angle with given size. We start from B, A, and now we state what would be the size of this angle. And the size of this angle is going to be A, which is the variable that we use to store the randomly generated value. We click OK, and you see that an angle has been generated, but is missing the legs. We're going to use the segment tool to add the legs of the angle. So B, A, and A, B prime. We're going to rename B prime to C. Right click on the point, settings, and under name we can change B prime to C, and that's it. Okay, we got our angle now. If we change the value of the generated angle, we click here. Every time you click and press enter, you'll see that a new angle is generated. 93. Yes, it's working perfectly. So we can now continue with creating our graphic construction. So we're going to create the angle in the circumference. For that, we're going to add a point A anywhere in the circumference. And we're going to create the legs by joining with segments points D and C, and of course D and B. Now we can measure the angle using the angle tool under measure. Remember, clockwise from B to D and then C. This is the angle BDC. Okay, we can see exactly that angle A is twice the value of angle D. All right, now we are going to create the rest of the user interface elements of our applet. We're going to create the text with the instruction. To create the text, we go to Tools, and then under Tools, we use Text. So here, we're going to create a text that says, enter the value of angle A. That's perfect. Click OK. And then below, we're going to use the input box to capture the response of the learner. But to do so, we have to create some variables. One variable to store the value of the response, another variable to check if that response is correct. So to create those variables, we have to use the algebra input. Here on the left panel, click algebra. I'll scroll down. Yeah, we have the input box here, and then we're going to create the answer variable, which we're going to make equal to 0 just to initiate it. Now we have where to store the response of the learner. Now we're going to create the correct variable, correct, just to store if this response is correct or incorrect. We're going to make it to false initially. All right, so now we can create our input box. To create input box, we have to go to the end, you click more, and then you scroll down, and then you click input box, then you put it in your user interface. We're gonna just say enter A as the caption, and then we're gonna link it to the variable of the response of the answer, and then you click OK. You see that immediately it takes the value of the answer, which is 0. There is no response there yet. Right now we need a button that will help the learners to check if the response is actually correct or incorrect. To do so, again, we have to click to click button here, click button, then we enter our button, gonna name it check. This is gonna be the caption, and then inside the GeoGebra script, we are gonna create a script that is going to check if the answer is correct or incorrect. If, and open and close brackets, answer in degrees, if the answer in degrees is equal to, note there are two equal signs, is equal to A, which holds the value of the angle, comma, now we set the value of the correct variable. If the answer is correct, set value within brackets, we're going to set value for correct, comma 1, meaning that if the answer is correct, the value will be true. 1 means true. Now, comma, for what's going to happen if the answer is incorrect, we're going to set the value of correct again comma to 0, meaning that if the answer is incorrect, the correct variable will hold the value of false. And then we click OK. Now, to check if this is working, you have to open the algebra panel again. And look at here, we have a checkbox. We're going to check against the answer of the learner. If the learner click check here, meaning 0, A is equal to 0, that's incorrect. So correct is still false. Now let's check with the correct answer, which is the value of the angle A is 96 degrees. So I'm going to say 96, and we're going to check now. Check. Wow. Now correct is equal to true, meaning the response is correct. It's perfect. It's working now. So there are still some other things we need to do. Like, for example, we need to show learners feedback. So we have to provide them with feedback if they get it right or if they get it wrong. So we're going to add some text. To add text, again, you click Tools, and then under Tools and Media, you click Text, and you're going to create a text here. And this is going to be, that is correct. That is correct. Simple feedback, just to show you, you can modify it. But the text is too small. We have to make it big. You right click on it, Settings, and then you click Text. And here in the font size, you click Large, just to make it big. You see how it increases the font size. And down on the color, we're going to make it green. That's it. And now our correct feedback is green and big. That's great. But when is this going to be shown? It's supposed to be shown only when the answer is correct. So you make a right click, Settings, and now you click Advanced. Under Advanced, you are going to find Condition to Show Object. So this feedback should only be shown when correct is true. For that, you say correct equals, no double signs, double equal signs, equals 1. 1 means true. So this will only be shown if correct is equal to 1. So let's try again. Check. This is still on, meaning that this is a correct answer. But let's see if I provide the wrong answer, what happens. This is wrong, meaning it's no longer correct and the feedback is not shown. But now we have to tell them something is wrong and try to check again. So we have to add another text with the feedback for the wrong answer. Check again. Okay. Click OK. Still small. Let's change the font. Right click. Settings. Text, we're going to make it a little bit larger. Large. And the color, we're going to make it red. It's fine now, but it's always on the screen. It shouldn't be like that. It will only be on the screen when the answer is incorrect. How can we check that? Right click, Settings, and there under Advanced, in Condition to Show Object, we're going to say if correct is equal to 0, meaning this object will only be shown if correct is false. Okay, right now. If I check, still on screen. But if I respond correctly, which means angle A is equal to 96 degrees, and I click check, this is not shown. Instead, it's telling me that that answer is correct. That's great. We are going very well. Now, we need to create also a button to help the learners creating more practice, adding more activities or a new activity. So for that, we have to create a button. Click button on the Tools, button. You click here. This button is going to say new activity, and in the GeoGebra script we're going to again regenerate a new angle. For that we say A is equal to floor, and within brackets we're gonna generate random between 40 and 180, and at the end degrees. This should not be missing. If this is missing, then we're not gonna get it right. This is what was incorrect on our applet on the Friday session. So this way we're gonna generate a new random angle. But now here as well we have to make the correct variable false as well, so that the that is correct feedback is not shown. So we're gonna set the value of correct equals to false, meaning that this feedback is not going to be shown. And we are going to make the value of the answer equals to 0 as well, so that we clean the input box. Answer equals 0. That way we are cleaning the input so that we remove the answer. Click OK. That's perfect. Right, let's check now. Let's generate a new activity. New activity, great. And a new angle is generated. If I click the input box and I input the correct answer, which will be 60 degrees, and then I check, great, it works. But if I made the answer incorrect and I click check again, this is not right. It's working perfectly, but still when I click new activity, the feedback is still visible. How do we fix this? For that we have to click algebra input, and then we are going to create a new variable, one to decide when the feedback is shown and when not. Let's create that variable, show feedback. Let's call it show feedback, and we're gonna make it equal to false, meaning the feedback shouldn't be shown right now. All right, so this will only be visible if the answer is incorrect and feedback show is on true. So let's get to the text, check again here, click settings, and then under advanced we have correct is equal to 0, but remember now we need to check that correct should be equal to 0 and show feedback should be equal to 1, meaning show feedback should be equal to true. So space, then double ampersand, and we say show feedback should be equal to 1, and show feedback should be equal to 1. And we have to do the same for the correct feedback. Click on the 3 dots to see the settings, and then under advanced, the correct feedback is going to be shown when the answer is correct, but show feedback should also be true. And show feedback is equal to 1 as well. All right, so you see they are not active because show feedback is false. If I make it right, then check again is shown. Why? Because the answer is incorrect. How do we make it then link? For example, if the answer is correct, I have to show feedback, make it true. So when we check, we have to show the feedback. So right click on the button, settings, and now under scripting we press enter at the end, and we type set value for show feedback equals to 1. So every time you check the answer, show feedback should be true. That's okay? But now, when you generate a new activity, show feedback should be off, not shown. So right click on new activity, settings, and then scripting. And at the end, you press enter and say set value for show feedback equals to 0, meaning that when I'm generating a new activity, no feedback should be on the screen. So let's check. All right, if I check, of course angle A is not equal to 0. That's why I have to try again. Okay, is equal to 93. If I check now, great, I got it. But if I click new activity now, a new angle is generated and the feedback is not in screen. That's perfect. There is one thing to fix now. We cannot show the participants, the learners, we cannot show the value of the angle. We have to hide it. Only is the angle what we don't want to show here. You see, you should see the angle highlighted, and right click, settings, and not show object. That way we are not showing the value of the object. Okay, that's perfect now. So based on the value of D, calculate the value of angle A. Okay, 58 times 2 is equal to 116. Let's see. Check. That's correct. Generate a new activity. What is the value of angle A now? Is 120. Check. Incorrect. Check again. That's perfect. And that way we got it. Next, we have to hide the algebra input so that is not shown. That way we have to reorganize our working area so the user interface looks clean and perfect, and we are done. Now we save our applet. Click on the three dots, the three lines on the top left corner, save online. I'm going to name it recorded applet construction, and it's safe. Saved. Thank you. Then you can check the examples that I have already shared with you guys. Thank you.